So we type function, and we'll just call it my function. The format I'm using of lowercase my, uppercase f, is just a standard convention for readability that you'll see, and I'm just arbitrarily naming this. It's best to avoid special characters like dots and underbars. Some characters work, some others don't, but for a beginner, just rely on letters. And also, you want to create sort of your own phrase. So I wouldn't say function, because that function, that's a reserved word in JavaScript. And at first, it's a little hard to know which words are reserved and which aren't. So it's best just to play it safe and to call it, let's say, my function. And then you'll know for sure, or at least you'll have a much better chance. And then you have open and close parentheses. Now what this is for future use. Let's say we want to add an input parameter at some point. That's where it would go. But for now, we're just going to show the parentheses. And then you have to use a different character. You have to use an open, what's called a curly brace. And that's to the right of your P character on your keyboard. So we have an open curly brace and a closing curly brace. And between these braces is where the script goes. So a good way to format this is to actually put each one on its own line. And you can see it sort of follows right down from the function itself. Inside the curly braces is where your script goes. So what we'll say here is maybe alert, this code is within a function. And now we'll run our page again. Now if you notice, I'm not invoking that function, meaning I'm not calling that function anywhere. I just created it. So what I'm doing is I'm going to refresh my browser. I'm going to see the same messages I've been seeing, but I haven't seen anything from that function. So to do so, I'm going to actually change the onload event handler of the body. And instead of saying alert the page has loaded, I'm going to instead call my function. So I'm going to select this whole routine here, and I'm going to get rid of it. And you can see now I just have my quotes. And I'm going to type my function, being careful that I match the upper and lowercase characters of what I've shown in the function name itself. So now I'm going to save my file, and I'm going to refresh my browser. And we see from the head section, this was displayed from an external file, from the body section, and this code is within a function. So again though, my function is only running when the body is loading. So we could call it instead from within the script block. And to do so, to call it, it's really simple. You just type my function with a semicolon. That denotes that the line of code is ended. And then I save the file, refresh it, and it says this code is within a function. You can see we go through a whole sequence here. But you can call it by itself, as I've done here, and really it's better to tab over like that. I've done it here, or I could also call it in the onload itself. So those are two ways that you can call this script. A final topic that we'll briefly introduce is variables. Variables are simply placeholders in a script where you can store information for reuse, or perhaps the information is going to change over time through different events and different scripts. So what I'm going to declare is actually a variable in this function. We'll do it a very simple one. And I'm going to call this one var my message. And within double quotes, I'm going to put a message. And I'm going to actually take this message from the alert, and I'm going to make it a variable. And then in the alert, I'm going to type my message, because I'm going to alert the variable to the display. And the variable will be whatever it contains. So now I'm going to save the file, and I'm going to refresh again. And here we can see that our code runs successfully. So just to review, in the time we have left, what we've worked with is script blocks, and we've shown that you can have that in the header of the page, in the body of the page, or in an external file. So we've shown where to put scripts. And then we've also talked briefly about the concept of events. An event is something that happens on the page that you can plug script into to react to that event. One event is when everything on the page fully loads in the web browser. That's called the onload event. And the body tag is the best place to work with the onload event. And then in the onload event handler, you can put anything. You can put an alert statement, you can put a single line of JavaScript. We're putting a function call, which is commonly what you see. And then we talked about creating a function and using the function statement with parentheses for eventual use of parameters and curly braces to contain everything that's inside that function. And then we also talked a bit about the variable declaration, where we can actually create a placeholder to store something. In this case, we're storing a string value or text, and then we're just displaying that with an alert statement. So hopefully this video has been helpful to you. We covered a lot of ground, we moved around a bit, but ideally this natural evolution will be helpful to you as you explore JavaScript yourself. Thank you very much.